You heard? What's up, fuck nuggets? It's your boy Sean. And I'm finna be reacting to Diddy attorney speaking out. I just did a reaction to the judge denying his bail and shit. So I said, damn, I seen this one. Let me do this one. I think there's some more videos. I might react to them. I might just watch them. But make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, send me some shit to react to. And yeah, we're gonna get right into it.
What prosecutors are arguing is not only does your client pose a flight risk, because obviously he's incredibly wealthy, has access to planes and a lot of staff, even though you said he turned over his passport to you months ago. They were also worried about him being able to interfere with witnesses and calling them. And so I guess the question is, how do you assure the court that that won't happen if prosecutors are saying this is someone who's attempted to bribe security staff and has already threatened and interfered with witnesses?
So I think the most important thing, even more important than the passport, is that Mr. Combs came to New York on September 5th. As soon as we realized that this indictment was going to be coming down in a matter of weeks, maybe months, but sometime soon, Mr. Combs got on a plane, left his home in Florida, flew to New York. I called the prosecutors myself. I said, Mr. Combs is in New York. Do you want to know where he is? If you want to know where he is, I'll tell you where he is. But he wants to surrender. He's here to surrender. They didn't want him to surrender because if he surrenders, they don't get to tell the judge that he's a flight risk and he's a danger. Because who, as a danger and a flight risk, would fly to New York and surrender? So they didn't want him to surrender.
So since September 5th, you had known, you expected it was likely he was going to formally face charges.
So I really knew he was formally going to face charges on March 25th, the day of the searches, when Homeland Security searched his Los Angeles home, his Miami home, and his airplane. I knew that day by looking at the search warrants. I mean, I've been doing this for a while. This is not my first or 100th rodeo, that this was going to come as a matter of time. What I realized in early September is that it was coming soon. And so it was time for Mr. Combs to come to New York, which he did. And let me just point out one very important thing. The prosecutors are seizing on something that happened 8 years ago. You know, this video that we've all seen, and it's a bad video for Mr. Combs, and he said so himself when he gave his apology. This is 8 years ago, and the prosecutors are talking about.
That wasn't no real fucking apology. Y'all ass had a screen in his face and he read off that motherfucking screen apologizing. Y'all know damn well there wasn't no real apology to that woman.
About him bribing a hotel security worker. There was no criminal investigation. This was just a matter of personal embarrassment because he and the person in the video were in the midst of a 10-year relationship that was difficult at times, that was toxic at times, but it was mutually so. And this whole notion that Mr. Combs is forcing drugs on someone is just nonsensical, and it's going to prove to not be true.
Well, on that video, he initially denied the allegations when his then girlfriend, who is in that video, filed a lawsuit last fall. And we have that video. I should note, CNN was the first outlet to exclusively report on it. He denied that happened when she filed it in a complaint.
I've seen that.
And then when the video came out is when he apologized for it.
So I wasn't his lawyer back then, so I don't, and I don't think he denied. I mean, I think the lawyer.
I know for a fact he only apologized to her because the video came out. If the video ain't come out, he wasn't going to apologize to that lady. He didn't give a fuck. You can see by how he beating her ass. No man that really give a fuck about you.
Were the ones mostly making the denials. I think they were denying sex crimes. I mean, because at the end of the day, the gravamen of that civil complaint wasn't a misdemeanor assault, which is what you see on that video. Not minimizing it, but it's a misdemeanor assault. What the gravamen of the complaint was sex crimes, and he denied that, and he still does.
Well, and you're saying that this is all just about that one relationship, but when you read through the indictment, they say that there's not just one victim. They say there's multiple victims here today, and what I heard described was they said they have 50 witnesses or victims.
Yeah, I think it's 49 witnesses and one victim. I think if you broke it down, and I say that because count 2, which is the sex trafficking count, has victim number 1, and there is no victim number 2 anywhere in the indictment.
So you're saying that there are not other women, because what they were essentially arguing here is that he coerced and forced women into sex acts by using physical force, financial pressure, emotional abuse, and narcotics for what they described as these freak-off sessions. They saying that he self-described them as that.
Yeah, there's one victim in the indictment. That the charging
but
document.
one victim does count, right?
No, of course, but I'm just not. It's not 50. I mean, what they did. It's a little too cute, is it's 50 witnesses or victims. Well, it's one victim. That's all that's in the indictment.
Our reporter who was in the courtroom today said that he appeared to have a stunned expression on his face. Was he surprised that he was arrested last night?
No, he definitely was not. I mean, I told him myself in early September, you are going to be arrested soon, and you're going to be charged with racketeering, and you're going to be charged with sex trafficking. So come to New York. It wasn't a long conversation. He agreed. So we knew this was coming, and in fact, we offered that he would turn himself in.
So if there are these witnesses and victims, and as you're saying that you believe it's one victim and 49 witnesses who saw this behavior, that's pretty powerful, though, to have that.
Man, 49 women ain't just gonna come out of nowhere and say this nigga Diddy was having freak-offs with them, bro. It's 50 victims. It's not 49 witnesses and one victim. It's 50 victims, like they saying. Ain't no woman finna just come out and say that, bro. I don't care how much money they trying to get. Ain't no woman finna just come out and say that.
Many people who have, if they go to court and argue that they witnessed this behavior by your client.
Well,
what's your defense against that going to be?
So my defense is very well established. I interviewed myself the different men who were being brought sort of into Mr. Combs and this person's intimate situation. I've flown around the country. I've interviewed a large number of them. There's not the slightest inkling, according to the interviews that I've done, of anything that's coercive, non-consensual. Nobody was too drunk. Nobody was too high. These were adults in a relationship. This is a 10-year relationship. We can't forget that. This is a 10-year relationship, and it was adults and consensual, and everybody who was there wanted to be there. So I feel very confident in our position.
You said you interviewed the men, but what about the women?
I haven't interviewed the woman. The woman's not available to me. She's presumably a grand jury witness, and we would not. We cannot try to interview a grand jury witness.
And you don't think that there are any other women who are going to say that they were coerced into this, given drugs, and essentially, as prosecutors were saying, that that's what kept them compliant?
So there are a lot
sessions.
of women in these civil cases. There's been a mountain of civil cases ever since the civil case that was filed in November. I don't see them as victims in the indictment. That's my point.
And so when you talk about that video of Cassie Ventura, that was his then girlfriend, in the video, I mean, just when you saw that, you said it's a bad video. It's pretty difficult to watch.
It is. No question. So let me tell you what happened.
Will that be used as evidence in court, do you think?
100%. 100%. So what I said in court.
Like, what drove, I don't know what happened. I don't remember because this shit was last year. What drove you to the point you walked out the room, you followed this girl out the hotel to go beat her ass and drag her back to your room? And then he steady talking about it's a 10-year relationship here. Me and my girl been together forever. I ain't never swung on her like that.
Today, and I'll say it again here, is the two of them were in a hotel. It was just the two of them in a hotel room. She found out that he was seeing someone else. She was going through his phone. She hit him in the head with his own phone. And then she walks into the hallway with two bags. One of the bags has all of his clothing. She's taking from him, which is why he runs out in a towel. So this isn't her fleeing from one of these freak-offs. Why would she take his clothing? That's not what it is. And when the evidence comes out, this is going to be completely different than the government's portrayed it.
But on this video, and I just want to show that.
Okay, the way they making it seem is he just beat her ass because she was trying to leave. She seen some shit that she didn't want to see and try to steal his clothes. That don't give him a right to go swing on her and drag her like that, but what are you taking his clothes for? Like, if you gonna leave with your shit, just get your shit and you leave because you seen something. Don't take his clothes. I'm not saying he right for doing that because he wrong as fuck for doing that, but what the fuck did you try to take his clothes for?
How do you defend against allegations that he hit, kicked, and dragged women when he's on video hitting, kicking, and dragging a woman?
Sure, he's not charged with hitting, kicking, and dragging a woman. He's charged with sex trafficking, and he didn't traffic anybody.
But he's charged with a conspiracy here where he was using physical abuse, emotional abuse, financial pressure, as prosecutors allege, to keep these women in his fold.
Hold on. I see if he just followed her out the thing to go get his clothes, but he followed her out the thing and he beat on her and he kicked on her. He didn't have to do all that. He could just follow her out to go get his shit and went back to his room and let her go on about his day. Let her go on about her day. But yet you dragged her back to the room that you barely want her in.
Maybe just Cassie Ventura, but keeping these women in the fold.
Cassie Ventura lived by herself. She had her own house. She had a family. She had a career. And he was seeing another woman at the time. He wasn't around a lot. She could have done whatever she wanted to do. All of these allegations of, I was forced, I was coerced, I had to stay, are nonsense. And it's going to be proven to be so.
That video, in the indictment, it alleges that your client paid hotel staff $50,000 to make it disappear from the hotel surveillance system. Did he pay off the hotel staff?
Not that I know of. I know that's an allegation. I don't know that is true. What I was concerned about when I heard about this allegation is whether there was an allegation that there was some sort of law enforcement investigation pending, because then that would be a crime. But there was none. And so this is not a crime.
You said you're portraying this as adults who were at these events that wanted to be, I shouldn't even call them events. That's not certainly how anyone else would label it, but that they wanted to be there. But they also allege that they were recorded and essentially used as blackmail. Is that not true?
That's not true. That's not true.
How can you prove that when they have electronic evidence that, as they argue, over 90 cell phones, laptops, iCloud storage accounts, 30 electronic and storage devices, hard drives, thumb drives? Yeah. You're not worried about that?
No, because if they had it, they would have put it in the indictment. And it's not in the indictment.
When it comes to your client's credibility, I think people will look at what he said.
Speaking of recording, I was just scrolling through Twitter and shit, trying to see when this new Warzone update dropped. And I seen the bodyguard had leaked a fucking audio recording of fucking Diddy fucking the shit out of Meek Mill. I'm sorry, but he was in there. He's in there fucking the shit out of Meek Mill. Meek Mill talking about some daddy song. I don't know, but that shit was odd. If I find it, I'll put it.
And it's not just his attorneys. I mean, he pays those attorneys. They're speaking on his behalf. They're the ones calling her claims baseless and ridiculous. And when you read the indictment today, they line up with what she alleged in that lawsuit last fall.
If the claim is that he had unwanted sex with her, that claim is baseless. And it will be proven to be baseless when we have a trial.
But the claim is obviously the conspiracy, the racketeering. It's much larger than just that, obviously, as you know.
It is, but the government wants it to be. But count 2, which is the sex trafficking count, relates to one person and one person alone. All of this talk of dozens of victims and 50 witnesses, if they had that, if they really had it, it would be in the indictment.
Okay. That was his attorney. I don't know what to say about that. I said what I said about certain things. For real, I'm just sitting back listening, just watching to see what the fuck going on, because I don't know what's going on. I just know Diddy is a freaky ass nigga that had freakniks, basically. I'm gonna catch y'all in the next one. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications. My motherfucking eye itch. Follow all my socials, comment some bullshit, and yeah, I'm gonna catch y'all in the next one. See y'all later, nugget fucks. Long live Rakim.